Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India News, India's voice to the world. I'm Lipakshi Khurana. Coming up in the next hour. Prime Minister Narendra Modi hails Union budget as historic, says it lays out a clear roadmap towards Viksit Bharat by 2047 and gives fresh momentum to India's reform push. Finance Minister focuses on three duties of sustainable economic growth, capacity building and Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas. Defence allocation hiked by 15%. US President Trump hopes for negotiations with Iran after Tehran warns of regional conflict if US attacks. Rafah crossing between Gaza and Egypt to partially reopen for limited passage of Palestinians from both sides. And the International Cricket Council rejects Pakistan government's stand to forfeit match against India in men's T20 International World Cup. And on to the details now. The Union Budget 2026-27 presented by Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman lays strong emphasis on education, skills development and employment-oriented reforms, signalling a transformative approach towards Viksit Bharat 2047. Well, congratulating Nirmala Sitharaman, Prime Minister Narendra Modi hailed the budget, saying it embodies the vision of trust-based governance, terming it as a distinctive budget that prioritizes reducing the fiscal deficit and containing inflation. Prime Minister said it balances high capital expenditure with robust economic growth.
ये बजट ट्रस्ट बेस्ड गवर्नेंस और ह्यूमन सेंट्रिक अर्थरचना के विजन को साकार करता है। एक ऐसा यूनिक बजट है जिसमें फिस्कल डेफिसिट कम करने, इन्फ्लेशन कंट्रोल करने पर फोकस है और इसके साथ ही बजट में हाई कैपेक्स और हाई ग्रोथ का भी समन्वय है।
Well, Prime Minister Modi also called it a youth power budget, saying it embodies the thinking, dreams, resolve and dynamism of the youth.
यह युवा शक्ति बजट है। उसमें युवा की सोच भी है, युवा के सपने भी हैं, युवा का संकल्प भी है और साथ-साथ युवा की गति भी है। बजट में जो प्रावधान किए गए हैं उससे अलग-अलग सेक्टर्स में लीडर्स, इनोवेटर्स और क्रिएटर्स तैयार होंगे। मेडिकल हब्स के निर्माण से, एलाइड हेल्थ प्रोफेशनल्स के माध्यम से, ऑरेंज इकोनॉमी यानी ऑडियो विजुअल गेमिंग को बढ़ावा देकर, पर्यटन को प्रोत्साहन देकर और खेलो इंडिया मिशन के माध्यम से युवाओं के लिए नए अवसरों के द्वार खुलेंगे।
Well, on her part, Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman said the budget 2026-2027 is the first one in the second quarter of the century, leading towards the vision of India becoming a developed nation by the year 2047. Addressing the post-budget press conference in Delhi, Finance Minister said that the budget places medical and health education at the centre of India's next phase of healthcare expansion. Further, the Finance Minister also said the budget pushes the Indian economy to maintain its growth momentum with an emphasis on continuing structural reforms.
We are laying the path and giving a push to the economy to maintain the growth momentum, and for that growth momentum or sustained economic growth which we want to ensure, primarily we are looking at building the ecosystem with structural reforms which will go on, reforms have been carried out. We are continuing to do the reform activities, so it will continue with an aim to make sure that we create enough environment for improving productivity and making sure employment is generated.
And now let's take a look at some of the key highlights of the budget.
India's sustained growth is the result of conscious choices and policies made by the government. In keeping with this and acknowledging that India needs to remain deeply integrated with global markets, Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman presented Budget 2026 for the financial year 2026-27. It is a Yuva Shakti driven budget with a focus on three kartavyas. First kartavya, accelerate and sustain economic growth. Second kartavya, fulfill aspirations of our people. Third kartavya, vision of Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas. Under Kartavya 1, to promote 7 strategic frontiers for manufacturing, allocation of 10,000 crore rupees has been made for Biopharma Shakti. India's Semiconductor Mission 2.0 has been announced to produce equipment and materials, design full stack Indian IP, and fortify supply chains. The Electronics Components Manufacturing Scheme of April 2025 has an increased outlay of 40,000 crore rupees to capitalize on momentum. Mineral-rich states of Odisha, Kerala, Andhra Pradesh and Tamil Nadu to become dedicated rare earth corridors. High-tech tool rooms in PSEs for manufacture of precision components, rupees 10,000 crore for container manufacturing, mega textile parks announced, Mahatma Gandhi Gram Swaraj initiative to strengthen khadi, handloom and handicrafts, dedicated initiative for sports goods for manufacturing, research and innovation. Rupees 10,000 crore for SMEs Growth Fund, corporate mitras for professional services in Tier 2 and Tier 3 towns, increased capex to 12.2 lakh crore rupees to continue the momentum. New dedicated freight corridors from Dankuni to Surat, 20 new national waterways over next 5 years, coastal cargo promotion scheme for a modal shift from rail and road. 20,000 crore rupees for carbon capture, utilization and storage over the next 5 years. High-speed rail corridors between cities as growth connectors. High-level committee on banking for Viksit Bharat. Restructure Power Finance Corporation and Rural Electrification Corporation. Persons resident outside India, PROI, permitted to invest in through portfolio investment scheme up to 24%. Under Kartavya 2, aspirations, high-powered education to employment and enterprise standing committee aim to be global leader in services with a 10% global share by 2047. Impact of emerging technologies including AI on jobs and skills suggest measures. Add 100,000 allied health professionals over the next 5 years. Scheme to support states in establishing 5 regional medical hubs. Set up 3 new All India Institutes of Ayurveda. Upgrade Ayush pharmacies and drug testing labs. Upgrade WHO Global Traditional Medicine Center in Jamnagar. National Institute of Hospitality upgraded from existing National Council for Hotel Management. Third Kartavya aligns with our vision of Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas. Support high-value crops such as coconut, sandalwood, cocoa, and cashew in coastal areas. Support cultivation of walnuts, almonds, and pine nuts. Set up of Nimhans 2 and also upgrade national mental health institutes in Ranchi and Tezpur. Scheme for development of Buddhist circuits in Arunachal Pradesh, Sikkim, Assam, Manipur, Mizoram, and Tripura. Accepted recommendation of 16th Commission to retain vertical share of devolution at 41%. Fiscal deficit in BE 2026-27 is estimated to be 4.3% of GDP. Debt to GDP ratio is estimated to be 55.6% of GDP in BE 2026-27. Tax proposals. Interest on awards by Motor Accident Claims Tribunal exempt from income tax. One-time 6-month foreign asset disclosure scheme for small taxpayers who have lived abroad. 3 years exemption to dividend income received by a national cooperative federation. tax holiday till 2047 to any foreign company providing cloud services to customers globally using data center services from India. A safe harbor of 15% on cost in case of providing data center services from India. MAT is proposed to be made final tax, being reduced to 14%. Exemption on imports of goods for nuclear power projects till the year 2035. Exemption to the import of capital goods required for processing of critical minerals. In total, non-debt receipts 36.5 lakh crore rupees. Net tax receipts 28.7 lakh crore rupees. Expenditure 53.5 lakh crore rupees. Net market borrowing 11.7 lakh crore rupees. Gross market borrowing 17.2 lakh crore rupees. Bureau Report, DD India.
Well, in the Union budget, post-Operation Sindoor, defence services of the country have received an unprecedented allocation of 7.85 lakh crore rupees for the financial year 2026-27. This is a major boost to country's armed forces. Also, the allocation equivalent to 2% of the estimated GDP marks a 15.19% jump over last year's budget estimates and makes defence the single largest spending ministry, accounting for 14.67% of total central government expenditure. Beyond routine modernisation and operational needs, the enhanced outlay also factors in emergency procurement of arms and ammunition undertaken after Operation Sindoor across both capital and revenue heads. Also, a major thrust is visible in capital spending, which has been raised to 2.1 lakh crore rupees, up sharply from 1.80 lakh crore last year, underscoring the government's push to upgrade military capabilities and preparedness. Also, the budget reiterates a strategic commitment to building a future-ready, self-reliant military with a clear emphasis on Atmanirbhar Bharat and transforming India's armed forces to global benchmarks. And in a major push for tech-driven agriculture, Minister Sitharaman announced the launch of Bharat Vistar in the budget. The budget emphasized high-value agriculture, allied sectors and technology-led farming. DD India's Tanvi Taneja reports for more.
In the words of MS Swaminathan, the father of India's Green Revolution, if agriculture goes wrong, nothing else will have a chance to go right. The Union Budget 2026-27 emphasized high-value agriculture, allied sectors and technology-led farming. High-value agriculture will get a boost for promoting high-value crops like that of coconut, sandalwood, cocoa and cashew in the coastal areas, agar trees in the northeast and nuts like walnuts and almonds in the hilly regions. The Finance Minister announced coconut promotion scheme to boost productivity. Special support would be given for sandalwood cultivation via partnerships with state governments to promote scientific farming and post-harvest processing. The Finance Minister also announced credit-linked subsidy programs for supporting animal husbandry so as to promote entrepreneurship, modernize livestock enterprises and scale up integrated value chains in the dairy, poultry and livestock sectors. To strengthen the fisheries value chain, the government will launch initiatives for integrated development of 500 reservoirs and other water bodies. These aim to strengthen the fisheries value chain in coastal areas.
There's been a lot of focus on agriculture, high value-added agriculture. You heard about focus on coconuts. The potential on coconut is a very, very large opportunity that India is presented with. High-value crops like cocoa. I think these are all areas which will move us from a low-value agriculture to a high-value agriculture. Value addition is another big area they've looked at. I'm also very impressed with the focus on the fish producer, farmer producer. The impetus they are giving on cultivation of fish through women-led farmer producer organization is very important.
Sitharaman also announced the launch of Self-Help Entrepreneurs or She-Marts, a new initiative for rural women-led enterprises run by self-help entrepreneurs and owned by the community. In a major push for tech-driven agriculture, Finance Minister Sitharaman announced the launch of Bharat Vistar, a multilingual AI tool set to integrate AgriStack portals and ICAR's agricultural practices with advanced AI systems. transforming how farmers access resources and make better decisions. All these initiatives target the 46% Indian workforce reliant on agriculture, marking a significant leap in precision farming, especially of indigenous dry fruits.
I think the government has announced some very good measures to boost the domestic production, processing and marketing of indigenous dry fruits. There have been specific instances and mentions of the walnut supply chain, the almond supply chain and the cashew supply chain. I think these steps will go a long way. Number one, in ensuring that the Indian indigenous farmers benefit a lot versus importing so much of dry fruit. Number two, we will save a lot of foreign exchequer by avoiding import of so much of dry fruits. We already know we import more than $4 billion worth of dry fruit.
The overall aim is to strengthen rural ecosystems, enhance farm productivity, and encourage rural women-led enterprises to align with the larger goal of making India developed by 2047. Tanvi Taneja for DD India.
Meanwhile, it was a dream come true for 30 young minds to witness the presentation of the budget by the Finance Minister in the lower house of the Parliament. Also, these 30 youth from all over the country had a detailed discussion with the Finance Minister later in the day. The interaction was aimed at enhancing students' understanding of finance, governance and the democratic process. Vishal Bharat caught up with some of them to find out more. Take a listen.
It has been a unique experience for these youth because they attended the parliament, they saw how the budget is presented, and they also had a long interaction with the finance minister of the country. Let's talk to them and find out.
Very happy to attend the budget session at the parliament today, and it was very inspiring also because finance minister actually presented her budget for the country for the 9th consecutive time. So it was inspiring in itself.
And how about you, the participation in the parliament or the interaction with the finance minister?
I think I would have to give it a little bit more weightage to the interaction with the finance minister. As much as the parliament is an icon and being there was an honor, I think talking to ma'am personally was a different experience. I think I can collectively say that we're all starstruck by the experience, and she spoke to us so personally, like almost like a mentor, and I think that experience will definitely trump being, as much as going to parliament is right up there, I think this is slightly better.
I agree with him. When I entered the parliament and the Lok Sabha gallery, I thought nothing could top this, and just a couple of hours later, the interaction with the finance minister was so awe-inspiring. Ma'am just left and we're all just starstruck, and I can't stop smiling. We got a chance to interact with her and talk to her about things beyond the budget. We got such valuable insights from her about the budget as well, but also about the youth. The budget was focused on the youth, and her interaction with us was so focused on what we can do, and she answered all of the questions that we had so gracefully and giving.
Did you ask anything?
Yeah, I asked a question. I asked her that what do us students underestimate about aspects of leadership that are involved in policy-making roles like hers?
I asked her one question about the today's budget, that about the orange economy. It's a completely new concept that our finance minister today introduced. I asked whether it should be a mainstream kind of thing or whether we are looking to a ecosystem kind of thing, and the answer of her is like spontaneous.
As a woman and the longest serving finance minister, especially as a woman, I asked her what is her opinion about the low women participation in the labor force, especially in the industry and service sector. And her response was not just related to the policy making, but it was also about the society, the mindset of the people, the corporate in all. So we understand that she does not look at just one perspective. At her level, she is supposed to, and she is very much rightfully so, is the right person to look at all different perspectives and give the answer perfectly.
So there you hear from these young minds. They are the future of the country. They had an interactive session with the finance minister, and they are so very happy about it. With cameraman Saurabh Shukla in Delhi, this is Vishal Bharat for DD India.
Well, this year, budget prioritizes education and skills for India's future growth, evident from the increase of 8.27% in the allocation over the previous year. Series of measures for education and skilling include IIT Creator Labs, a new design institute in Eastern India, girls' hostels in every district and expanded healthcare training. Leaders from the sector have hailed it for its strong emphasis on research, education and technology-driven growth. Listen in.
The budget is extremely encouraging. I think there's a lot of continuity and momentum. The announcement to set up content creator digital labs in secondary schools that's aimed at strengthening the creative, digital and technology-linked skills of young people. I think that's so important. What we do in the school ecosystem impacts our country and industry so much. And also, of course, the continued policy push towards applied learning, skilling, industry-linked education beyond the traditional academic routes is also very encouraging.
A big boost of this budget is on development of skills which are very critical for the future of this particular nation. The AVGC labs, the animation and gaming industry, gets a big boost with over 15,000 schools and 500 colleges where these labs will be set up, and this will give a big boost to future careers that children can learn to create content. Apart from that, the NID and design education in India will get a big boost with several centers coming up. Hospitality institutes also getting a big focus, which are all employable sectors.
Meanwhile, discussion on the motion of thanks on the President's address will begin in the Lok Sabha, the lower house of Parliament today. Union Minister Sarbananda Sonowal will start the discussion from the Bharatiya Janata Party. Tejasvi Surya will second the motion. A total of 18 hours have been allotted for the discussion. Prime Minister Narendra Modi is likely to reply on the 4th of February. And renowned sand artist Manas Kumar Sahu created a special sand animation on the theme of the Indian Budget 2026 at Eastern India's Puri beach. The sand animation visually presented key messages and public sentiments connected with the Union Budget. Through the unique art form, Manas Kumar Sahu highlighted the aspirations of the common people and reflected the overall positive response towards the budget. And moving on now, World Wetlands Day is being celebrated today to recognize and raise awareness about some of the planet's most vital ecosystems, our freshwater and coastal wetlands. India's Environment Minister Bhupendra Yadav will attend the celebrations at the Asola Bhatti Wildlife Sanctuary as the chief guest. The theme is Wetlands and Traditional Knowledge, celebrating cultural heritage. The minister will felicitate states for the declaration of new Ramsar sites and undertake a plantation drive under Ek Ped Maa Ke Naam. Well, also on the World Wetlands Day, India strengthens conservation efforts with 2 new Ramsar sites, taking the country's total to 98 wetlands of international importance. DD India's Tapas Bhattacharya has this report.
On World Wetlands Day, India reaffirms its commitment to protecting nature's lifelines. Wetlands play a crucial role in conserving biodiversity, supporting livelihoods, and combating climate change. Adding momentum to these efforts, India has designated 2 new Ramsar sites: Patna Bird Sanctuary in Itaha, Uttar Pradesh, a haven for migratory birds, and Chhatri Dhan in Kutch, Gujarat, a vital wetland supporting rich avian and marine life. With these additions, India's Ramsar network now stands at 98 wetlands of international importance, marking a remarkable growth of over 276% since 2014. As the world celebrates World Wetlands Day, India's expanding Ramsar's footprint highlights the strong push towards conservation, sustainability, and ecological balance. Tapas Bhattacharya's report, DD India.
And when nature challenges, India's warriors respond. Well, at 9,500 feet over Manipur, the Indian Air Force's Mi-17 V5 missions in Manipur battled fire, wind and low visibility, delivering 40,000 litres of water over 3 relentless days. Well, the operation showcased the Indian Air Force's professionalism, resilience and humanitarian spirit, and to remain vigilant in crisis and steadfast in duty. And President Draupadi Murmu on Sunday graced the opening of Amrit Udyan Winter Annuals Edition 2026 at Rashtrapati Bhavan. The iconic gardens will be open for public viewing from February 3rd to March 31st, offering visitors a chance to experience one of the country's most celebrated green spaces. The Amrit Udyan will be open 6 days a week from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. with the last entry permitted at 5 p.m. The gardens will remain closed on Mondays for maintenance and on March 4th on account of Holi. Entry to the garden will be free of cost. However, visitors will be required to book their tickets exclusively through the online portal. No on-the-spot booking facility will be available this year. Well, apart from Amrit Udyan, the Rashtrapati Bhavan and Rashtrapati Bhavan Museum will also remain open to the visitors from Tuesday to Sunday. And faith, colour and devotion filled Lord Murugan temples across Tamil Nadu as devotees marked the sacred festival of Thaipusam. From dawn, long queues and chants of Arohara echoed through temple corridors. The festival symbolises devotion, discipline and spiritual renewal. Take a look.
Devotees across Tamil Nadu thronged Lord Murugan temples on Sunday to offer prayers on Thaipusam festival, a day steeped in devotion, penance and tradition. From the first light of dawn, long queues stretched for kilometers at prominent temples. At Chennai's Vadaparani Murugan temple, the faithful braved the early morning rush to offer prayers and seek blessings. A similar rush was seen at Parani's Murugan temple in Dindigal district, where thousands of devotees from across the world arrived, observing fasts and fulfilling their vows in various forms.
The best things we see is such a big festival, joy, color, smell, everything is good. Very great place.
So last year we have been to Kumela, and this is like Tamil Kumela. Yeah, it's a big festival. So we are here to experience your traditions, and we want to see, we are going in the footsteps of Murugan. Okay, we know the Aroga.
Devotees offered prayers carrying kavadi and spears, symbolic acts of devotion and penance as part of their vows to Lord Murugan. Thaipusam is celebrated on the full moon day of the Tamil month of Thai, when the Pusam star occurs. The festival commemorates Lord Murugan's victory over evil using his spear, the Veil. At Lord Murugan's 6 sacred abodes, known as the Arupadai Veeda, special Abhishekam ceremonies, pujas and prasadam distribution were conducted, allowing devotees to seek blessings, perform rituals and renew their spiritual vows.
And now let's take a look at other stories making news today. Well, Maharashtra's Bharamati remains its mourning days after Deputy Chief Minister Ajit Pawar's tragic death in a plane crash. Emotional posters have appeared across the town with tributes from the Nationalist Congress Party acknowledging the unwavering support he received from the people of Bharamati over the years. Rajasthan's desert city of Jaisalmer is alive with colour and tradition as the 44th Maru Mahotsav unfolds at Dadansar ground. The through-day festival celebrates the spirit of the Thar desert through folk music, traditional attire and cultural performances. A major highlight was the Shane Marudhara competition, where beautifully decorated camels and their handlers took centre stage, showcasing the deep bond between the ships of the desert and their people. The festival will conclude on Sunday. And still to come on DD India News Hour. Syrian Kurdish forces impose curfew in Hasakeh and Kamishli ahead of the integration deal. Dalai Lama makes Grammy history, wins Best Audio Album at pre-ceremony. And month-long Madhav Narayan Swasthani festival concludes in Sanghu of Kathmandu Valley. Welcome back. You're watching DD India News. I'm Lipakshi Khurana, and moving on, updates on US-Iran tensions now. US President Donald Trump on Sunday said he hopefully expects the United States to reach a deal with Iran after the country's supreme leader warned that any American attack would trigger a wider regional conflict. Now, Trump on Sunday downplayed comments from Iran's supreme leader warning of a potential regional conflict, stating, "We have the biggest, most powerful ships in the world over there very close." Also, the remarks came as the top US and Israeli military officials In fact, the remark came as top US and Israeli military officials at a closed-door meeting at the Pentagon on Friday amid growing tensions with Tehran. Also, Trump on Sunday downplayed. Meanwhile, Iranian Supreme Leader Ali Khamenei has warned the United States that any attack on his country would result in a regional war. Khamenei said the US wants to devour Iran and its vast oil and natural gas resources, adding that what happened during the recent anti-government protest, which was similar to a coup since a large number of government offices, banks and mosques were stormed.
We have the biggest, most powerful ships in the world over there, very close, a couple of days, and hopefully we'll make a deal. If we don't make a deal, then we'll find out whether or not he was right.
And some updates from West Asia now. Rafah crossing between Gaza and Egypt will be reopened on Monday for limited passage of Palestinians from both directions. Now, pedestrians are set to begin passing through the Rafah border crossing on Monday after it was largely shut for almost 2 years. Before the conflict, Rafah border crossing with Egypt was the only direct exit point for most Gazans to reach the outside world, as well as a key entry point for aid into the territory. Now, the reopening is a key part of the second phase of US President Trump's truce plan for the Palestinian territory. The reopening is expected to facilitate the entry of a 15-member Palestinian technocratic body, the National Committee for the Administration of Gaza, established under the ceasefire agreement to oversee the territory's day-to-day governance. Well, Israel has said the crossing would open under stringent security checks only for Palestinians who wish to leave Gaza and for those who fled the fighting in the first months of the war to return. According to an Israeli defense official, the crossing can hold between 150 to 200 people altogether in both directions. Meanwhile, Egyptian officials said the list of Gazans set to pass through the crossing have been submitted by Egypt and approved by Israel. Oslo, the Israeli army in May 2024 took control of the Palestinian side, claiming that the crossing was being used for terrorist purposes. Many access points have since been mostly closed, including those used by the United Nations. Rafah briefly reopened for medical evacuations as well during a short ceasefire between Israel and Hamas in January of last year. And for more on the opening, we are joined by Akshay Dongre. Well, Akshay, how significant is this reopening in practical terms, if you talk about, given its limited passage, and what does it really change on the ground for the Gazans compared to the near total closure of access points since literally May?
Well, Lipakshi, this opening serves as a hope for the Palestinian people, especially the ones who were trapped inside inside the Gaza complex, or who fled the fighting and they wanted to come back to be reunited with their family members. Whoever has survived as far as the 2 years almost of the bloody conflict is concerned. So it serves as a hope, because earlier it was absolutely closed, but now at least even at a limited if you call it limited capacity, but still the people will be allowed to actually cross into Egypt as far as the Rafah border is concerned. So the situation is improving, is what we can say, as far as the on ground condition of the Palestinian people especially are concerned, because they have been the biggest victim of not only the conflict, but also the terrorism that Hamas, the terror attack that Hamas, carried out in Israel on 7th of October. Because those were the people who have lost their family members. Those were the people who were not armed. Those were the people who faced the brunt of Israel's retaliation as far as its action against Hamas is concerned. So as of now, while the capacity, as we have showed, is about 150 to 200, a temporary screening center has been set up at Rafah, because only after stringent security checks and measures you'll be allowed to cross into either Israel or Egypt. Plus, the situation is improving. However, the Egyptian, the Palestinian authorities have said that there are about 20,000 people who are in dire need of medical attention, and they need to be provided with proper medical attention, and that can only be possible after they leave the Rafah border. So they are demanding for more, but obviously, while the Israeli authorities have given some sort of permission to cross outside the Gaza complex, the numbers are limited, and if the situation remains calm, the situation remains the same, then we can expect the more numbers to be added, more screening centers to be added, and situation to improve even further. But whether that will serve in the interest of Hamas or other groups there, that is a big question, because every time the situation improves, there is some sort of nefarious activity that takes place, which causes more harm to the people.
Right, and 20,000 people out there are definitely awaiting medical aid. Also, with Israel previously citing security concerns to justify taking control of the Palestinian side, how sustainable do you think is this under the current ceasefire framework, which is a key part of the second phase of US President Trump's truce plan as well?
Well, it's not sustainable for indefinite period of time. It is sustainable at this point in time. It's sustainable, let's say, for foreseeable future, but not indefinitely. So certainly, other alternatives will have to be found out as far as giving some sort of authority back to the Palestinian people as far as their own governance is concerned, and even though Israel is saying that they will be controlling the security of the Gaza complex, but it cannot happen for an indefinite period of time, and Israel will also have to give a certain time frame in which they definitely plan to withdraw from the region.
All right, Akshay, thank you so much for all those details. And moving on, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky confirmed that a new round of peace talks involving Ukraine, Russia and the United States is scheduled for next week in the UAE. Zelensky said a second round of talks between Russia, Ukraine and US officials on a US drafted plan will begin on Wednesday instead of Sunday. Zelensky did not give a reason for the delay. The announcement comes a day after one of Russian President Vladimir Putin's top envoys held surprise talks with US officials in Florida without Kyiv. Now, neither the Kremlin nor the United States have committed the new dates.
Our negotiation team gave a report today. There is already an arrangement to hold a trilateral meeting at an appropriate level. This meeting will take place next week as planned on Wednesday and Thursday in the United Arab Emirates, as last time.
Well, Zelensky also offered his condolences to the families of those killed after a Russian drone strike on a bus carrying minors. At least 15 people were killed and 7 wounded after a Russian drone struck a bus carrying minors in Ukraine's southeastern Dnipropetrovsk region. The attack came hours after Zelensky announced the second round of US-brokered trilateral talks. And Syrian Kurdish security forces on Sunday announced a curfew early next week in 2 cities in the country's northeast ahead of the implementation of a recent deal struck. Now, the Kurdish security forces announced a curfew in the northeastern city of Hasakeh and in the northeast main Kurdish city of Qamishli on Tuesday. Damascus and Kurdish forces reached a comprehensive agreement on Friday to gradually integrate the Kurds' military and civilian institutions into the state. Mazloum Abdi, head of the Kurdish-led Syrian Democratic Forces, said the deal would be implemented on the ground from Monday, with both sides to pull forces back from frontline positions in parts of the northeast and from the town of Kobain in the north. He said a limited internal security force would enter parts of Hasakeh and Qamishli, but that no military forces will enter any Kurdish city or town. Well, counting began on Sunday evening after 12 hours of voting among 20 presidential candidates, including frontrunner Laura Fernandez, as well as 57 legislative seats. Laura Fernandez, the ruling party candidate and former chief of staff to President Rodrigo Chavez, is the clear favorite to win outright and avoid an April 5 fifth runoff. Polls ahead of the election showed that Fernandez could secure the 40% of votes required for a first round of victory. Well, the closest rivals in the 20% field are Alvaro Ramos and Claudia Dobbels. Both are polling in the single digits but are seen as the two most likely to compete in a possible runoff if Fernandez falls short of 40%. The current government holds just 8 seats and has blamed congressional gridlock for blocking its agenda. And the 68th Annual Grammy Awards kicked off on Sunday in Los Angeles, celebrating music's biggest night, with top contenders vying for top honors. The Dalai Lama made history at the pre-ceremony, winning the Grammy for Best Audio Book Narration and Storytelling Recording for Meditations, the Reflections of His Holiness the Dalai Lama. Fellow first-time Grammy winner Steven Spielberg also took home the award for Best Music Film for music by John Williams, completing his EGOT, Emmy, Grammy, Oscar and Tony after a lifetime of shaping Hollywood magic. Well, Puerto Rican rapper Bad Bunny and K-pop group Golden are among this year's top contenders. Trevor Noah returns as host for a 6th and final time. Most of the 95 awards were presented at the non-televised premiere ceremony hosted by Darren Criss. Kendrick Lamar, who leads the nominations with 9, has already won 3 awards. He's followed by Lady Gaga, whose Abracadabra has taken home 2 trophies so far, and producers Sarkut and Jack Antonoff, each with 7 nominations. Bad Bunny, Carpenter Thomas and recording engineer Serban Genia are tied with 6 nominations apiece. And in Nepal, month-long Madhav Narayan Swasthani festival in Sankof Kathmandu Valley ended on Sunday. That started on full moon day of Posh month of Nepali calendar. Well, the rigorous Hindu ritual in Nepal is dedicated to deity Madhav Narayan and goddess Swasthani. It involves daily holy baths, fasting and reading Swasthani Brata Katha to seek blessings for family prosperity, longevity of spouses or to seek an ideal partner. Devotees take daily morning baths in the Shali River, and in some traditions, they roll on the ground to reach the temple. The idol of Madhav Narayan is carried on a month-long procession called Jatra to various holy sites like Pashupati Temple, Changu Narayan Temple, Basantapur Darbar Square and Punoti. The festival is culturally significant in Kathmandu Valley, fostering deep social bonding and reinforces spiritual discipline in the residents of the valley. And still to come on DD India News Hour. In sports, India booked their place in the semi-finals of the ICC Under-19 World Cup with a 58-run win over Pakistan in the Super 6. And world number 1, Carlos Alcaraz beats Novak Djokovic to win the Australian Open, becomes youngest player to complete a career Grand Slam. And Pepinos bring colour and music to La Paz carnival streets. Welcome back. You're watching DD India News. I'm Lipakshi Kuran, and on to some sports news now. The International Cricket Council on Sunday issued a statement taking strong objection to the announcement by the Pak government of forfeiting the T20 World Cup match against India. Now, the ICC took note of the statement that the government of Pakistan instructing its national team to selectively participate in the ICC Men's T20 World Cup 2026, while the ICC has made it clear that this position of selective participation is difficult to reconcile with the fundamental premise of a global sporting event where all teams are expected to compete on equal terms per the event schedule. ICC has said that this decision is not in the interest of the global game, and the World Cricket Body further sent a word of caution, hoping that the PCP will consider the significant and long-term implications for cricket in its own country, as this is likely to impact the global cricket ecosystem. Pakistan is placed with India in Group A. Government of Pakistan announced on Sunday that their national team will not take the field against India. There has been no official statement by the Pakistan Cricket Board so far. And DD India's Meher Singh joins us for more on this. Well, Meher, the ICC asked the PCB to consider the long-term implications for cricket in its own country if Pakistan refused to play India. How do we see this warning?
Yes, indeed, ICC has taken a strong stand against Pakistan's decision to selectively participate in this tournament. You know, the ICC has stressed upon this fact that the tournament is based on sporting integrity and sanctity, and all this decision hurts decision hurts the basic integrity and the sporting spirit of the global event. And the ICC has also said that it goes against the basic principle of the event, where all the qualified teams are objected to compete under a common schedule. And also what we are looking at is the long-term financial implications as well, and it will also hurt the stature of Pakistan in the global ICC framework as well. And in terms of financial implications, we could also add that this could also result into ban of Pakistan in future tournaments like the Asia Cup as well, and also a replacement in the ongoing tournament as well. And the focus of ICC remains on the smooth staging of the ICC T20 World Cup. And they have also said that this decision to selectively participate and not take the field against India goes against the interest of the global game and the interest of millions of fans worldwide.
All right. Also, Meher, given that the India-Pakistan match is the tournament's biggest commercial driver also, what could be the long-term consequences for its players, domestic cricket, also the hosting rights?
Definitely, we are looking at long-term financial implications. You know, if we see one of the biggest talking points is the issuance of NOCs to the overseas players who take part in the PSL, which is a big financial driver in the Pakistan's cricket ecosystem. So if we look at the possible sanctions, we could even see docking of WTC points, a ban in future tournaments, replacement in the ongoing tournament as well, and no movement in the ICC rankings as well. And they could also face high sanctions, and even they would have to compensate for the revenue loss which the broadcasters would face if they pull out of the tournament.
Right.
So, you know, we're looking at a long-term implication, and if we see that this tournament and the global implication, Pakistan would have to suffer a lot, because this is something that would damage them more than India. So what we are seeing right now is that there's no official communication from PCB to the ICC, but the ICC has taken a strong stand against this decision.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Mayor, for all that information. And moving on, spinners Ayush Matre and Khilan Patel starred with ball as India defeated Pakistan by 58 runs in the Under-19 World Cup match in Bulawayo to book a semi-final berth. Both the bowlers took 3 wickets apiece to bowl Pakistan out for 194 runs and secure a commanding 58-run win. Pakistan struggled throughout their innings, failing to maintain the required pace for a semi-final spot and eventually collapsed under pressure. Earlier, Vedant Trivedi anchored India's innings with a determined 68 runs as they reached 252 runs on a challenging pitch. India will face Afghanistan in the second semi-final in Harare on Wednesday. And world number 1, Carlos Alcaraz swept past Novak Djokovic to win his first Australian Open and become the youngest man at the age of 22 to complete a career Grand Slam. His win denied the Serbian great an unprecedented 25th major title. The Spaniard was imperious after a slow start in dismissing the 38-year-old 2-6, 6-2, 6-3, 7-5 in Melbourne to claim a 7th Grand Slam title and cement himself as undisputed world number 1. Well, Alcaraz surpassed legendary Rafael Nadal, who was at Rod Laver Arena to witness it. Nadal was 24 when he completed the career Grand Slam. Alcaraz added to his 2 titles, each from Wimbledon, the French Open and the US Open. And the Indian Navy organised the second edition of the Indian Navy Half Marathon in New Delhi on Sunday, held under the tagline of Run with the Navy. The event saw more than 13,000 participants across multiple race categories. Flagged off by Sports Minister Mansukh Mandavia, the marathon witnessed international participation from 24 countries.
Union Sports Minister Mansukh Mandavia and Indian Navy Chief Admiral Dinesh Kumar Tripathi flagged off the second edition of the Indian Navy Half Marathon 2026 at the Jawaharlal Nehru Stadium in Delhi on Sunday. The event was also attended by veteran badminton player Saina Nehwal and former Indian hockey goalkeeper P.R. Sujesh. Around 13,500 runners took part in the event, competing in 3 categories: 21.1 kilometers, 10 kilometers and 5 kilometers, making it open to runners of all age groups and fitness levels.
Indian Navy ने आज हाफ मैराथन की सेकंड एडिशन का आयोजन करा। इंडियन नेवी देश की तटों की रक्षा तो करते हैं, लेकिन उसके साथ प्रधानमंत्री जी के फिट इंडिया मूवमेंट को भी बढ़ावा देने के लिए भी कार्यक्रम करते हैं।
भारतीय नौसेना में हम लोग की पूरी कोशिश रहती है कि किस तरह से हमारे जो ऑफिसर्स हैं, जवान हैं, हमारे डिफेंस सिविलियंस हैं, उनको किस तरह से नॉट ओनली फिजिकल फिटनेस बट आल्सो द मेंटल एस्पेक्ट्स एंड स्पिरिचुअल फिटनेस, ये तीनों बातों पे हम ध्यान दे रहे हैं। और ये देख के बहुत खुशी हो रही थी कि हर उम्र के जो हमारे सिटीजन्स हैं उन्होंने पार्टिसिपेट किया। द ओल्डेस्ट रनर आई एम टोल्ड वाज 87 years plus, and I also saw some toddlers in arms, some young kids who were running and running with Josh.
Former Indian hockey player and 2-time Olympic bronze medalist P.R. Sujesh said that India is moving in the right direction on fitness, with the government taking several initiatives, and described the Indian Navy Half Marathon as a commendable effort.
India is getting into the right track in terms of fitness, and secondly, the government, they are taking a lot of initiative to keep everyone on their toes, to make sure that the generation is coming up with more fitter and healthier way. It's a great initiative, and this half marathon is also a great initiative because it's happening all over in our country, and I think the participation is also increased a lot. So I think it's a great initiative from the Navy side as well.
The race route passed through iconic landmarks including India Gate, Kartavya Path, offering participants a memorable running experience. A special run and walk was organized for veterans and senior citizens. The event also saw strong international participation, with 88 runners from 24 countries, reflecting the global appeal of the Indian Navy Half Marathon. Narayan Sukh's report for DD India.
Well, brightly dressed Pepinos, the playful symbols of La Paz's carnival, filled the Bolivian capital streets with color and music on Sunday. Wearing glittered masks and ruffled suits, they danced to upbeat brass bands, reviving a much-loved tradition. Let's have a look. All right, that's all for this edition of DD India News Hour. But let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. For those on the go, you can get all the latest news and updates from India and across the world on the DD India mobile app. The app is available on both Android and iOS platforms. Scan the QR code on the screen to download now. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Lipakshi Khurana from all of us here in Delhi. Thanks for watching DD India News Hour.